at you all the way from our dorm rooms to your conference rooms. Sabah and Dan Teeman here, two college students who are ready to talk to you guys about business and lifestyle from our personal experiences.
Each week we'll discuss about our lifestyle as college students as well as our tips and strategies starting in the business field. We'll bring on successful entrepreneurs in the millennial generation, share with us their journey and how they got started and where they're at now.
Our goal is to help you students, millennials, and entrepreneurs gain inspirational advice via our spontaneous conversations and meaningful guidance. Let's dive on in.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 49 of Dorm Rooms and Conference Rooms. Guys, it's going to be a fun little episode here just because we have episode 50 around the corner, and that's a huge milestone for both of us. And we just kind of thought, we'll talk about what we learned through the past 49 episodes, as well as how we feel about episode 50. But to get us going, Sabah, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty good, Dan. I'm just really pumped also just because I can't believe we're already almost 50 episodes in. It's crazy because we started back in January and now it's May. So it's so crazy how time flies.
So, yeah, guys, it's kind of crazy to think about. We started on January 4th, and when this releases, it's actually going to be June 7th or so, I believe. June 7th or June 14th. I got to figure out the timing exactly here. But either way, guys, we've been through it all. We've been pushing, we've been pressing, we've fought through our college classes to really keep this podcast alive. And on average, podcasts only last about 7 episodes. To think about that we already made it all the way to 50 is kind of crazy to just think about in general. But Saba, let's just talk about persistence really quick and what you've learned through the years about being persistent on different things.
So just starting with the podcast, it's been pretty tough, going through classes, having 18 to 19 credits last semester. I know when we did start the podcast, we were actually on winter break, so it was just a little bit easier for us to record and stuff. But once we did get back into school, it was kind of hard to find time to especially for both of us to jump on podcasts and especially to interview people, because I know when we do interview people it's sometimes hard to get their time zones right, make sure all 3 of us are available, but pushing through it just made it so much better, because also if when you're working on something that you really love to do, time flies so fast. Dan, it seems I've met you, I met you, 9 months ago now? But it seems I've known you for, so long.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, it's been just crazy to think about. Like Saba said, you don't really want to try coordinating 2 people. Try coordinate 3 people. A lot harder of a deal to figure all that out when you're doing scheduling. And that's something that's really actually nice. That's probably something we learned about that we really didn't know we learned about at the time. But scheduling around everything is so key, guys. Just trying to figure out the time. And really, if you love it, you have to make the time for it in some fashion. Whether it's late at night, early in the morning, midday, whatever it might be, you always have to find the time. But just press through it. Saba and I conquered some little battles and some major wars at the time. I mean, guys, this episode 50 coming up, we're super stoked about. We have a very special guest that we scheduled out this guest for you guys on episode 50, 2 months ago, 3 months ago in advance, just to make time with him. Because, guys, this episode that's coming around on Friday, you have to stay tuned for it. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a lot of value bombs, and it's going to go really quick when you guys listen to it. But it's some great info that anyone could take away from their business. And, like we're saying here, just to keep persistent and just to keep on doing what you're doing. Because like I said, most podcasts only last 7 episodes. And that's not because they're not getting the listeners, but that's because they're not, being persistent with it. And they're not driving that. And that's something we touch a lot about on Friday's episode, guys. And that's something that you really need to listen to and something really to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. And when you are working towards something, it does take time, because I know a lot of people, if they want to be entrepreneurs, especially in college, they just want to see success right away. Just the next day they want to make money and stuff like that. But that doesn't work. It takes time to build up really anything. For a podcast, it takes time to build up listeners. If you're running a company, it takes time to get those valuable customers to keep paying for the products or whatever it is that you are selling. So keeping at it and keep doing what you really have to do at the end of the day will pay off, because you will see success once you just keep working at it. So this quote that I really like by Benjamin Franklin is, "Energy and persistence conquer all things." So if you're energetic and you're really passionate about what you really love to do, you will see success. It may take 1 year, 5 years, 10 years to really see that great success that you want to. But if you keep working at it, you will see it eventually.
Yeah, and a quote that I just recently saw too that has to do with persistence is ambition is the path to success. Persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. So ambition's what starts you out, guys, and persistence really leads you to that, successful path and really leads you to where you want to go at the end of the day. As long as you stay with anything, guys, that could be from playing football to, the classroom, studying. You constantly just have to be persistent with your efforts and constantly go at it over and over and over again. So, guys, that comes from sales as well. When you're calling a customer or anything like that, you have to keep calling them, or you have to keep texting them. You have to keep communications over, because most sales are made in the 12th time you speak to them, not the first time you speak to them. And just like here's a little glimpse in who we're talking about for this Friday, guys. This guy didn't see the rewards of podcasting on day 1 or day 2 or day 3. He's on day 1700 and now he's seeing it, guys. That's something to think about, because that right there is the ambition and the persistence to really get shit done and really keep on doing what he's doing. But I'm super stoked for this. Like, Saba, what's something you learned over the past 49 episodes, though, that you can think about just offhand?
So I think I learned a lot throughout this entire couple months that we've been podcasting. The main things is really that podcasting is a lot of work that goes into doing so, because a lot of people, they think that, podcasting, you can just record and just put it up on iTunes or lip sync. But for us, since it's 2 people doing a podcast, we have to make sure what timing that works for the best, works for the both of us, because a lot of people, they do solo podcasting, so they can just record whenever they want to. But working with 2 people's schedules, 3 people for interviewing can be a lot to handle. And then besides scheduling, there also comes the copywriting for the podcast, and then the editing, because editing can take a lot of time to make sure everything lines up correctly, to make sure the voice and the sound is right, and then for the copywriting for it, to make show notes, to make sure everything flows correct, the quotes and everything. That's a lot of time that goes into podcasting. But the end result is so good, because we're creating content twice a week. A lot of people are getting a lot of valuable information from it. So I think I've just learned that podcasting is something that's so powerful that a lot of people are doing nowadays. They're listening to podcasts. So I just learned that you can do so much through podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what we figured out too, guys. We really came to use this for more connections and also provide everyone that listens, a lot of value. But it's a lot of connections too. And that's something that you guys might not see off, just listening to a podcast or listening to somebody speak, or when you have somebody else on a show of some sorts. It's not really, it's the fact that you do provide value to your listeners, your customers, whoever you try to provide value to. But it's that connection you make with them, whether they're an influencer or something like that. And for this episode 50, we have a big influencer coming on that's making noise everywhere. He's doing everything he can. He's, winning he's winning ClickFunnels contests. He's featured on all these magazines. He's featured everywhere. He's guest speaking. He's doing all these things, guys, and he's a high profile guy to get a hold of. And that's something we're also trying to bring here after episode 50. We're going to start bringing to you some amazing, amazing guests. Not that we haven't, but some of these guests are going to be top guys. And that's something we're really reaching for now, is just to bring the best of the best on here. And that's something we've been doing, but really we're going to try to jump this to another level now after episode 50. But guys, we talked about it so much. Saba, we already recorded this interview. What do you think they should be paying attention to in this interview, just so they know when they listen to it what they should look for?
So this podcast that's going to be coming out, there's a lot of good value, but I think the main thing that I really enjoyed from the podcast was the ending, was the main advice that this guest is going to give to you guys, because I feel it relates to me and Dan. It can relate to college students, really anybody, guys. So when you are gonna listen to episode 50, make sure to listen all the way to the end, because that's the best advice that our guest can give us.
Yeah, guys, and you know what, as a little teaser too, I'm just gonna say his first name. His first name's John. I think you guys can figure it out from there. But really, guys, if you want to find more about us, you can find Saba at sabaali.com, and you can find myself at danieltiemann.com. Join us for Friday. Value bombs galore in a short little segment. Saba, what are some final words?
Keep at it, guys. Persistence is what gets you to the end, but definitely join us on Friday for episode 50, guys. It's going to be huge. But thank you guys so much for listening today on Dorm Rooms to Conference Rooms.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Dorm Rooms and Conference Rooms. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you haven't joined our accelerator program yet, you can find that at livetogrind.com/college, where we connect you with today's latest influencers and experts in their fields.